There is nothing more simple than the basic attack, aka the A attack. You see, the A attack is very special because it can be literally anything. There are so many characters with different A specials, it's kind of ridiculous. You have bread and butter characters like Shogun who just have triple attack. You know, the most basic thing. Jibanyan has this. It's so simple. Then you have characters like Pandal who just have a single hit attack. You have in the plus plus mod some specific new characters such as Beetle or just Beetle, who have the 1-2 punch, which even though it has the 3 hits symbol, it's only 2 hits, which is like a mix between like a triple attack and a basic attack. So, you know, that's pretty neat. You have some specific cases like the Muncher who have a different variation of a basic attack even though it's still only 1 hit. The Oni brothers specifically get Iron Swing, which is a higher base power with 120, but it has a ridiculously long animation. And Gilgaros gets Clopper, which I'm not sure if it has a faster animation, but it has way less power, so the legends, they'll get their own video because I want to do a whole like fixing of them, but well, that's for a later date. In the plus plus mod, Smackdown, even though it's 2 attacks, but just like the 1-2 punch, it uses the special stat, meaning it's a little bit different. Characters like Frost Shogun have Ice and Dice, which is an elemental version of triple attack, as well as characters like Swole Terrier with Fiery Dance, which apparently was too powerful and had to be nerfed. And then you have Icy Poke for Chihuahua, which uses the special stat. Both of them do. You have things like Practiced Punch, and then finally in the base version of Yokai Watch Blasters, you have the ranged basic attacks. This is for characters such as Usapion. Usapion B works because he has a far away move that is, you know, the A button. With Kabuking specifically, has Rocket Punch, which has double the base power, but a lot more cooldown. So let's do a quick comparison of triple attack, the Usapion B attack, and then Yo Maestro here, his Rocket Punch. So first we have triple attack. If you just press the A button, you get an attack. You press it twice, you get 2 attacks. You press it 3 times, you get 3 attacks. And the final hit is the strongest. You can just keep up attacks like this for pretty nice damage. Works very well for characters like Shogun who gets stronger with each hit, because not only is he building up his own attack, but the specific equipment I have for him is lowering the enemy's defense and also lowering their attack. So now we have a ranged basic attack. This is 1 hit where you press the A button from a distance and you can attack. Now why would you want this instead of triple attack? Well, for niche scenarios, such as, you know, staying away from a boss that has really powerful up-close attacks. McCracken is not one of those characters aside from like the Ink Blot's Shotgun Blast. Not really too good. However, if you take advantage of things like Usapion B's very good skill on his mediocre kit, by mediocre I mean his really low power basic attack, you can get some pretty high numbers. As you can see, 350 there when I get a crit. This is because his skill gives him up to a 50% chance to crit at far distances, and since I can bring things such as the Oni Smasher Sky, since it uses his strength stat, and a Swole Terrier Soul or any sort of crit damage soul, I can very easily increase that damage to get to pretty powerful levels. However, if I don't crit, as you can see, it's not really that good. Usapion B is a very noob type character because in the plus plus mod, there's literally no reason to use Usapion B because Emperor Usapion exists, who is literally the same thing, except his basic attack has 15 more base power, and he also just has better moves. Like, he also has Fallback Attack, which is a really good defense move. However, he also has Brilliant Barrage, and whatever his other move is, but I just run Fallback Attack because I think it's a little bit better. But if you want to play a very safe strategy, and since Usapion B is very early to, you know, be able to access, you just have to beat the Captain Thunderstory mode and unlock costumes, and he'll be decent. Oni Smasher is kind of difficult to make, but I think there's like a kitchen knife weapon that also gives crit damage. I feel like you'll probably have like better things you can make, but, you know, he's pretty usable. Now, Big Man Kabuking here has the Rocket Punch move, which, while it does more damage when I don't crit, you know, it's incredibly slow. You see, we have about 2 seconds of cooldown. which is pretty bad. Even if I use this master stance, you'll see that it's still a very, very long cooldown. However, you know, I'm getting pretty lucky with crits. I have a crit rate up Soul and the Oni Smasher Sky for more crit damage. And as you can see, his damage is like double Emperor Usapion's, even though he only has one crit multiplier with his, you know, master stance. So you might think that Rocket Punch, with its 70 base power but 2-second cooldown, is, you know, much worse. However, with certain equipment, you can actually make it pretty dang powerful. By simply equipping the Golden Claws Soul, you remove the A button cooldown entirely. This only really greatly impacts someone like Kabuking because his basic attack cooldown is 2. Meanwhile, Usapion B's is only 1. And since most of that 1-second cooldown is spent in an animation, if you remove the cooldown, you don't really speed up that much, so it's much better to bring a crit damage up Soul instead of this. However, for Kabuking, it's not like that. Since his is doubly cooldown, it allows you to run something like the Moon Shadow. So now with the Golden Claw Soul, my cooldown is literally 0. So I can spam this incredibly quickly. Make sure that I have enough range, and we'll be able to pretty quickly start building up damage. This is also because I have the Moon Shadow. As long as I keep up my combo, we'll be pretty easily able to build up our stats. And if I do my Master Stance, well then, our stats are going to go up even more. Easily build up my Ultimate as well, allowing me to do something like this. And with this, I can start building up my Ultimate even faster. However, sadly, Kabuking is not really the best for this fight because of that stupid little stun move right there. But it's fine, I showcased what I need to, and shown that it's a pretty powerful move. Rocket Punch is very good and is one of the key factors that makes something like someone like Kabuking or Golden Yan very good because it allows easy access to their Ultimate on top of some pretty decent DPS, especially considering how fast they can hit. You run something like a Moon Shadow, that's a very nice buff to your allies. So one of my favorite things that the Blasters mod does is give new variations of the A attack, mainly for range characters. However, with, you know, examples such as Beetle and Chihuahua and Soul Terrier, they have different physical A attacks, even though some of them use the special stat. For fire, that is Fireball. For water, it is Splash. For earth, it is Rock Throw. For electric, it is Zap. For ice, it is Snowball. For wind, it is Gust. And for drain element, it is Reap. Meaning that there is a wide variety of special basic moves. However, there is no, at least currently, which I don't think there will ever be because it sounds kind of broken, there is no healing basic attack. Which, again, is probably because it'd be pretty broken. So why don't we go ahead and take a character such as Hymncada, who has one of these new basic attacks, and see how well it works out. So Hymncada here, with Gust as a basic attack, essentially has Uncharged Wind just as a basic attack, which doesn't really sound the craziest until you realize that you can use them both back to back. Allowing, and even though, you know, Wind or Gust doesn't have as high a damage base as, even though the A button doesn't have as high of a damage ratio as the X button can still be used in tandem with the A button due to it, you know, being pretty fast. So as you can see, we're able to pretty easily just build up attack, even though I'm not building up anything because my crit setup is just far away crits and then crit damage. So here, even though I've, you know, taken damage, Hymncada's cool and can heal. And if I had allies, they would be getting their soul meter even faster. Meaning that Hymncada is actually a very usable support option. This also allows me to pretty easily build up my Ultimate, which is pretty neat. And this is usually what I like to do when I run characters that have these ranged basic attacks from the mod, because it's very fun to be able to just spam these two buttons back to back pretty effectively. Ignore that I die here. So the ranged basic attack is a very cool way to separate a bunch of the spirit attackers from each other. Hymncada isn't the greatest example since Storm is just 10 more base power. However, another good example that I really like to use is Blizzaria. This is because she has access to a move called Freeze. Freeze is a 160 base power move, which has a decently higher cooldown. However, because we have Snowball, it's not really the biggest deal. This setup doesn't work as well on Blizzaria since she doesn't really want to be too far since Freeze is more of a close-up move, but it'll do fine. So not only are we able to stay way back here and get some pretty nice damage, but we're able to use this big 622 damage move and then keep going like this, stay back here, bait out one of these, and get a nice freeze for 1400. This allows Blizzaria to be a pretty good DPS character in all honesty. Not the craziest, but you know, there's certainly worse options. But we're pretty easily able to do some decent chunk of damage, and if I wasn't trying to be all showy and stuff, we'd be able to do just fine. So we can get this. My ultimate button isn't working because I've had to plug in my controller, but whatever. We're able to pretty easily get our ultimate off. And as you can see, yeah, Freeze has quite the range problem, so I'd look out for that. Now let's take a look at when these ranged basic attacks become insanely good. This is Styx MK. I probably should show him because I haven't used him in a little while. Oh, he's kind of broken. So I've put a healer on the team, so that way I don't die to Guided Squistle. And we're going to be able to show off that this ranged basic attack is insanely useful. So, Troubled Waters is Styx MK6's best move. And the main thing that you want to do is run something like the Cicada Soul. And if you don't know what the Cicada Soul is, go watch my previous video. It is a really good soul that allows you to reduce cooldowns of your move. And since you want to keep up combo, Splash is a very good way to do it from afar and keep yourself safe. Now the main thing is, you do kind of need to be making sure you don't take damage, which can get a little bit risky, mainly since Styx MK6 doesn't have any sort of dodge move. However, his other strengths make up for that. So as you can see, we can do this, do some basic attacks, do our ultimate to not tank that, but it's fine. Now we can do Troubled Waters again. Now we're going to do a Trap. And now we're going to do another Troubled Water. And as you can see, I've been able to keep up combo this whole time because my basic attack is able to keep up one attack from afar, which is very useful because it allows for just a little extra bit of damage. So Styx is very good. As you can see, like, Princess Pearl heals me when I get hit by a Guided Squistle. Other than that, that's all Styx. So another thing that makes Styx really good is being able to just stop enemies from doing something for a second. Keep forgetting my ultimate button isn't working at the moment. So because I can just keep running away, activating his move to try to hit me, and then use a basic attack, we're able to keep up combo very effectively. Ignore that I've gotten hit. He's very, very needy right now. So all of this damage is purely Styx's power. I keep getting hit because I keep getting greedy. So don't be greedy, and you'll be fine. So we're going to get another zap off. Now we're going to do a ultimate. Oh, yep. But it's fine. Because I have Princess Pearl here, she's very tanky. We're able to get a nice little burst heal off. My move is a little broken right now, and it says that it's off cooldown, but it is clearly not off cooldown, but it's fine. And now we can do this, keep him stun locked for a little bit, get a little more basic attacks. See, if I wasn't being greedy, I could just very easily dodge his moves. Just like this. See, that's literally all I have to do. Get another stun off. Mainly to just stop him from doing something. Now we can do this. Do his ultimate, and there we go. So, Styx Mark 6 is definitely one of the characters you can just like bring to a team, and your team will highly appreciate it, especially if you have the Plasma Launcher, I think it is, which is a plus exclusive equip, gives you defense down when attacking, and it works very well with Styx Mark 6. So now I have just a niche, not really a niche, just like a okay setup for Hinozal Awoken, and Princess Pearl. This is honestly like the trifecta of like the best characters. These are like some of the best characters in the entire game. I'm not running the Ultimate spam setup that I usually run with Cicada Soul and Zazzle Agate Ring, because that would just take away the spotlight from the basic attack. So we're going to go fight Ultra Shogun King, who is a pretty difficult fight. Robanion 28 I think is harder, but he's faster. And a lot more people struggle with Shogun King, and that's mainly because the CPUs are pretty stupid. The CPUs are more manageable against Robanion 28, but I think Robanion 3000, not when I say 28, I mean 3000. But Shogun King kind of just falls to his knees against these three, allowing us to very easily take advantage of our powerful basic attack to just keep him away. This also allows us to run our very powerful moves such as Gratitude Beam and God's Wave and Shocking Idea. So even though I take a decent bit of damage there, it's whatever. Get a nice one of these off, and now I can use my Ultimate. This also gives me a nice buff. Gonna switch to normal Hinozal right here, so I can do my Ultimate. I'm gonna be switching back and forth between them because that's just how you should do it. Oh no, Princess Pearl's down. Uh-oh. So we're going to Shocking Idea. Now we're going to do this. And get a nice little res. Not the biggest deal that he fainted. It's kind of a big deal that she fainted though, but it's whatever. Going to get a nice heal and some invincibility frames. Gotta keep dealing with these guys, but whatever. If I had a fourth teammate, it would be more manageable, but because of my basic attack, I'm able to heal myself pretty easily. He's sadly going to keep Curse of the Falling me, but we'll be okay. My ranged basic attack is going to be able to keep me far away, and if I don't get greedy, we'll be fine. Oh yeah, I forgot I have the specific bobble on and can heal myself like that. I can lock on, find him, and get a kill. Now I need to do this quickly. And as you can see, my ranged basic attack is able to help keep them at bay. Get a nice stun. Being able to keep these guys far away is very useful. Oh, nice. That Great Orb is a pretty nice timing. Get a stun. Well, not a stun, just this. Gratitude Beam. Get a nice dodge. It's whatever. So we'll get that. Run over here. Grab this. Get these. Try to keep this ultimate for when I need to heal. Remember, I'm running a weaker version of what I should be. I would rather run the Agate Ring, because I find the massive ultimate spam way easier to use, but like I literally soloed Swirliest Gold with it by accident. I should still be able to do this without too much hassle. I still have both my getaway flushes, knock on wood. Yeah, even though I get hit by literally both of them, because I'm ultra powerful Hina's all awoken, shouldn't really be too big a deal. Yeah, now we're getting into his post-stick phase. Yeah, just like that. You would think I would learn to stop doing that, but clearly not. Gonna start healing, because there's nothing you can do about it. Gonna do this. Well, ain't that convenient. Whatever. Let's start getting work on this one. Oh wow, that's really convenient, game. My God's Wave just so happened to miss. And we just so happen to not kill. Ain't that great? Oh, great. Yep. Thankfully, the huge buff to my speed from my Ultimate is barely going to be enough to let me run away for a little bit. Honestly, just going to have to time him out. But I don't really think I can do that. And now. There. Not too bad, but we still have a lot to go. But, you know, I just need to be careful. And not do that. Gratitude Beam, not Gratitude Beam, God's Wave is pretty useful for this phase. Just because it comes back so fast. It's very reliable. Get off a couple of attacks, and now God's Wave. And with a little bit of move cycling, just a little bit more push, and that is the fight. God's Wave, just cuz. A little bit difficult, but we still got it done. And this is with a setup that I don't really like running. So, like, it's fine. If I had a better soul than the 20% crit damage soul, it would obviously be better. If I run a Gutsy Bone soul, it might have, like, stacked, so that could have been good. I like Ultimate spam setup, and I like running normal Hina's all better, but because I've literally just made a video about them, I didn't. So, because of my ranged basic attack, and the rest of my move kit, I was able to spam my Ultimate and keep up my power very well. But there's one more thing that I want to show. It wouldn't be right if I didn't have who I think is the best character in the game in this video, because Emperor Shot #1 is just like perfect. It is a good mix of a laser attack, such as Usapion B has, and Rocket Punch, except it has less cooldown than Usapion B. It has 0.8 seconds of cooldown. I don't know why it's 0.2 less, but I mean, it works. So we'll do Robonyan 3000 because he's faster, and I don't have to deal with the slowing. And we'll be able to bully this guy, because I did it first try when I did my boss solo video. So hopefully we can do it again. So I can just stay back here and deal 500 damage on my basic attack. Take advantage of my really good move in Brilliant Barrage to get 3 hits at once. And he's very fast. I've completely forgotten how fast he is. I got careless there. I should have just fallback attacked, but I didn't. So even though he's invincible, I can just... Well, not invincible, he's invulnerable. I can still hit him and get a little bit of my soul meter. Gonna see if I can bait out the spawns, but I guess not. Sorry, I had to lock in because I got hit with the thing and used my getaway plush. But yeah, Emperor Zampion, the key example of why this is so good. I basically use Brilliant Barrage uncharged as just a second basic attack because it's just that good. So, yeah. I really like playing ranged characters. It's very fun to just sit back and just annihilate them. So give it a try. There are tons of characters who have been fixed with ranged basic attacks. So I would definitely recommend giving them a try. It's a brand new way to experience a bunch of these characters. It makes a lot of them way better, like Blizzaria, instead of having to use the little smack with your strength stat, you get a ranged basic attack on top of freeze. So anyways, with all that said, I hope you enjoy, and yeah, get these characters because they're pretty dang fun. And yeah, bye.